Back at it once again. Today, man, look at that skid plate. Woo-wee. Not looking the sweetest. So let's do a little bit of 1 year maintenance here. Like I said, about 1,300 miles, so I'm just a little bit over, really. The old one wrench was on. I thought the number 2 wrench would come on, but apparently it won't come on unless you reset the number 1, saying that you've checked the things at the 600-mile range. So kind of failed there, and then realized it, but apparently went riding instead of changing oil. So big Labor Day weekend, so plan on doing some more riding. Better get this oil change, I'd say. But for the 1 year, we're gonna do Subtrans, front rear diff, oil filter, of course. Now the Subtrans on this one, I got some oil in it there. Oh, probably at about the 700 or 800 mile range. So I've already changed it and flushed it a few times, but I figure that with that, probably should just need to change it for the year and get some new oil in there just in case we had some more moisture in it. So yeah, let's get started on this thing. It's gonna be a little tough, of course, because we're sitting on the ground, but I mean, if you've done much work on these things, you know, yeah. There's the oil filter and the DCT. So those aren't too bad. Those are 10 millimeters. This rear plug back here is for the motor oil, and then the front plug is Subtrans. And really the biggest thing I'm going to say for today is front rear diff. I haven't really got into those before, so it's going to be a little bit of a new adventure. So I like to change mine with the bed up. Try to get as much light and stuff in there as you can. Okay. Now then, yeah, one of these things got a spring. Oil's definitely a little dirty looking. Imagine that. This here's on the DCT too, so. I can't remember. Man, of course I ran that thing just a little while just to get the oils good and warmed up. Definitely a little bit warm on the fingertips. Okay, so it's this one here that's got the spring in it. Definitely not something you want to lose there. Like that. Okay, where did you go now? Making my life difficult. Maybe I'm gonna have to take the old skid plate off for today. I usually don't. Just being lazy. Of course, today rock up in there. Probably won't be able to find it. Let's go riding tomorrow, so that'll be great. Come on. Pry right off the one boss there. Get up here on this top one and pry just a little bit. This one here is a little tougher on the actual oil filter. It doesn't fall off as easy as the old DCT one. Of course, then yeah, you just can't really get a good pry on it either. Usually though, you can kind of try to spin the thing. Like that right there. See what I mean? It's good to be quite messy on the old frame. Start looking like a small block Chevy on the front end. I always leaked that way, then it oiled everything up. Got oil draining all over the place on the skid plate. I don't remember this thing being that bad the first time whenever I did it at the 100-mile rate. It would be nasty today though. Well, in my quest for the spring, there is a spring on the top one. Forgot all about that. I was thinking there was just one small one on the bottom, but apparently, yeah, there's a spring on both of them, so make sure you're aware of that. But I'll go ahead and rip this skid plate off, I guess. Not that I'm really looking forward to it. But here, looks like there's 2, 4, 6, 9, like 12 freaking bolts in this thing. So yeah, that ought to be good. But I guess somewhat it opens it up to where, hey, gotta clean the old skid plate out every once in a while. Check these cross members up in here maybe. And I know some guys are reinforcing those and doing some things there. So, I mean, but it definitely shows you what kind of wear and tear you can have on the old skid plate. I mean, you know, I don't take super duper easy on stuff, but I also don't try to go crazy and tear stuff up either. So, I mean, it's definitely got some wear and tear on it from running some things over, some logs and stuff like that, especially that part right there. So yeah, let's get this thing off. Definitely dirty job, dirty job. All those bolts are open to the elements as well, so meaning that they do kind of run out of there kind of hard. Okay, where's my spring at now? There's a push pin clip on the front side, but definitely the cross member right there is definitely needing a little bit of maybe some extra support. They're adding some things in here. Trying to keep that away from that subtrans there. Adding here, adding a bar across there, and some of them I think maybe was even adding another cross member in there. So might be a project for a day this winter. Right now we're just gonna see if we can find the missing spring. Good thing I butterfingered that thing up and lost it. Well, I finally found it. Up underneath the old beast here. It's tucked up in the frame rail right here, right there by that brake line. So probably didn't really have to go full out skid plate removal, but you know, really, it's really not a bad idea, I don't think, because you gotta get up underneath here. And yeah, sure, you would rather it was up on a hoist or, you know, something like that, but poor man, poor ways. That's what I've always been told. But yeah, I mean, you can really get up in here and kind of see what all you got to look forward to working on sometime, right? So, I mean, like the Subtrans right here. If we decide to do that whole Talon reverse gear deal, I believe you take it off right here, pull that whole Subtrans out of there. So, and of course, then you got to pull this front drive shaft out too. But that might be something that would be interesting too. Just because these things don't have all that good of a reverse gear. They got way too tall of a gear, you know, so a lot of guys end up stripping the teeth off of it, blah blah blah. So it is a failure point. Not to say that you want to rip a nice machine apart just to replace that gear, but it might be in your future. It's not real sure. So oil pan plug there, Subtrans there. Okay, one good thing about the Escapade with the skid plate deal, now you can see the oil drain plug really good. Get some tools out here. This here's a 12 millimeter. Like I said, this is the back one. If you're not doing the Subtrans, plug, don't touch that one unless you plan on putting fluid back in the Subtrans. That'd be the quickest way to ruin the Subtrans. But let's get back to this one here. I think, man, it made a lot of mess this time. Last time when I did this at the 100 mile, it did not make this much mess. And I somewhat wonder is I drained everything first and then came back and pulled the filters, and I'm starting to think that was the money shot, the way to go. So I want to try that first. Try draining the pan first, all that oil out of there, then come back and pull them filters out and change the filter. Man, then you won't have so much trouble and so much oil, nasty mess all over the place. Now that I have all the skid plate off, I was gonna put a whip back there on the back for the flag. The flag is a whip light, and I was always wondering how I was gonna get that cable up through here. Well, now I got the skid plate all out, so I can get that whip light hooked up, I guess, and we'll be whip nay-naying here pretty quick. So let's go ahead and, while you're waiting, let's go ahead and get that. See if we can snag this Subtrans. I think we can. 12 millimeter here. I think this one here is a 17 or 18. Had it out of here a few times. That flush deal. No filter on the Subtrans. Just straight oil, and hopefully she's good and clean. Like I said, I flushed it a few times there and everything. Ooh, yeah, that's not really that clean. So apparently there's still a little bit of some residual water, even though I had to flush that out a few times. The vent line is extended now, so shouldn't have the water issue anymore, but probably just some residual water left in that case. That's kind of why I wanted to get the front and rear diffs changed out. Make sure we ain't got nothing going on there too. So, alright, well, let this drain for a while. Try to get that, not real sure if that was moisture in that front one or I did flush it with kerosene whenever I did it, so I wonder if that wasn't kind of a kerosene oil mix maybe there. Maybe that's why it looked a little bit funky, but we'll put it back together here and see what we got. Now Subtrans is like 2.2 quarts. Engine is 6.1 or so. So somehow I messed up. I guess whenever I did the Subtrans flushing out in, I used up 2 quarts of my other stuff. So I'm gonna have to go back to Honda, I guess, tomorrow and pick up a couple quarts of oil. I got oil to do the Subtrans. I'm going to use a different type of oil on it. It's a marine grade synthetic deal. Not really a reason for it, just thought maybe it'd be a little bit better deal. Definitely want to stick with the Honda stuff on the tail, on the motor itself, because the clutches, and definitely don't want to glaze the clutches over or nothing like that. So then in the front and rear diff, gonna use this here Royal Purple 7590. Used to work at a factory where we did wash downs every couple nights, and we use Royal Purple, and then what happens is the water, the oil and the water doesn't mix, so you don't get that milkiness. Pretty much what you would get on them gearboxes that we had. Guys would go out and just drain the water out of the bottom of the gearbox until it got oil, and then throw the plug back in, good to go again. And on a wash down condition like that, I mean, your seals are only get so good, and they're trying to push water in anything they possibly can, so you definitely get water in the gearboxes. So this seemed like that worked out pretty good. Like I said, you don't get that mix of the water and oil. It doesn't look milky. The water would go to the bottom, oil would be up on the top, still lubricating stuff, and then pretty much you just go over and pull out the drain plug, drain the water out, and I mean, it would just come out like straight water, and tell you got the oil there, and then you would throw the plug back in. Be good to go for a while. So I mean, I'm thinking that on the same deal here. I mean, because like that Subtrans, I wish it wouldn't have mixed, so it just kind of made it nasty. But I had thought about maybe using some Royal Purple, just regular oil on that too, but didn't come across that, didn't get it for this time, so not gonna do that. Handy dandy all-star stands that I had from the race car days. They work out pretty decent. You can get it right underneath the subframe there. Get that thing in there. But over here, as you can see right there, there's your fill, and then the empty is, I believe it's down this same side. So Like they say, they use 80/90, and it's about 13 ounces, I believe. Double check that, but pretty much 1 quart will get you for both front and rear diff. So be good to go there. So I did get the right amount of oil for that. Woohoo! Let's lower this thing down on that jack stand here, hopefully. Okay, let's get up underneath here and see what we got. One little bitty plug right there. I think that's it. I think there's the drain. Like I said, then that one up over here on the side, right there, is the fill and check. So we'll get those things pulled out. Not there, almost looks like a 10mm again. It's kind of weird. Awfully small plug. You've got the angle to dangle here. Oh, yeah. That doesn't really look all that great either. Kind of nasty looking. Stinks like gear grease. But I would say it's got a little bit of water in it too. Maybe somewhat a little bit of condensation, but I'd say it's more like it probably got a little bit of water in it before we did the vent extension on it too. So maybe a year is a little too long to wait. If you do a lot of creek riding like we do, well, maybe you shouldn't wait for the old year. Try to get her done a little quicker than that. So big here, but 17 mil. Almost maybe it seems a little bit big, but even with the ratchet wrench, you still kind of try to get a little bit of air in that thing. Help my draining problem down here, maybe. She definitely looks a little bit maybe a little bit nasty, you know. Nothing too great, but nothing too bad. You can see in there maybe what we're saying here. I'm looking in this hole. That's where we're going to refill back at. Like I said, I'd have to double check on that quantity. I think it's somewhere about 13 ounces on this one. The LE, it takes a little bit more fluid, so just be aware, but you're still under a quart. So, but like I said, from that water there, that's what I'm talking about as far as hopefully the Royal Purple oil in there won't mix, and that way then when we pull that plug out the next time, we'll get just straight water and just drain straight water out of these things and go again. Maybe not change it out as often, but a little bit more often. That stuff is about 20, 23, 20, 25, somewhere in there. $20 to $25 a quart, but that's pretty cheap when you start thinking about needing some rear diffs and stuff like that. So let this thing drain a little bit. Maybe I'll spray a little bit of carb cleaner in there, try to flush that out a little bit, and then put the plug back in. We'll see how we're gonna get oil back in this thing. All right, nothing like working in the dark here, but I got this funnel here. Like I said, it's gonna take about a half a quart, but I think really what would be the perfect thing would be some 3/8 gas line on the end of your squeeze bottle here would be perfect. Uh-oh, no. That's way too expensive to let it drain out like that. But yeah, as you can see, it's kind of backs up on the ring gear and then overflows, so you gotta kind of go slow. Yeah, fill, inspection right there. This is on the driver's side. Plug there. Now, looked up the specs on the capacities. It looks like the back is like 18 ounces. Front is somewhere about 13, but a lot of guys are saying pretty much, yeah, they're using a full quart between the two to get it done, which that's kind of what it looks like back there in the back. So this one here, it's a little harder to get to than that rear one, so I'm thinking 17 on an extension. Still 10 mil on the bottom, so that won't be too bad to get it drained. But and it'd be interesting to see how much water is this one here, because this one here, the vent runs a little different. It runs right up next to the radiator here and goes up on the top of the hood kind of. So you know, I've got them all extended now, but did I get water in them before I got them extended, or what happened there? So it'll be interesting to see if there's any water in this one here or what the story is. So we'll see. Turn some light on here. Holes right there. Just straight shot, but it's a little bit tougher with that skid plate being on there compared to the rear, where now I got the skid plate off. So let's get her done. Does kind of help having a little bit of light. One of these days we're gonna have a nice garage. Oh man, now look at that grease. That stuff there now, that's how it should look. There's not a hint of water in that at all. Now that rear, yeah, there was some water in it, so have to kind of keep an eye on that. Like I said, with this gear grease now, maybe that won't be such an issue, but it definitely got some in there, and I might have got that in there whenever it got it into the Subtrans. You know, it may just not have been something. I didn't really look at that because I didn't think we quite got down that deep and got any water in there, but apparently that's not the case. So yeah, let that drain out there, and that stuff's looking good, so pretty happy with that. Oh yeah, I got about like a, I don't know, 6-inch maybe extension. Probably not really quite enough. Okay, so yeah, could use a little bit more extension. Never long enough. Not too bad. 17 mil, get you all the way. So yeah, let that drain the rest of the way out, and rear's already full, just kind of letting that settle. Get this in here drained, get this in here filled back up, fill the Subtrans, fill the motor oil. We'll be pretty much done with that part of it, and then I guess I'm gonna leave that skid plate off for a little while so I can chase that wire through there for that rear light. Okay, well, here we are in the front one. I just went right through the A-arm, kind of squeezed it right in there. Transmission filter didn't do transmission funnel didn't do too bad. Put it right down in there, pretty decent. This one actually seemed like it filled a little easier. I don't know why that would be, but it didn't seem like it was quite so finicky as far as knocking oil off the ring and pinion down in there. So this in here, you could tell, started filling it up. You could see right where it's coming up to the edge. So we're good to go on that. And like I said, got a full bottle there, and I probably got a couple ounces left in the bottom of it. One bottle will get you by though, so just don't want to overfill it, and then you definitely do not want to over tighten them plugs. So I just kind of went to a snug On the plug, it's got an O-ring on there, so should kind of keep it from backing back out as easy. So get the oil in this thing and be ready to rock and roll. Okay, we're back. Got this back panel off here. I don't know if you guys know how to operate those things or not. You push them down, pull the thing up out of there, but you got to really watch because you will lose those push pins, the piece that you push out. So let's get one real quick, you guys. Here it is. You push that center down, then it comes out the bottom, and then you pull the cover off, and then you reset them. But what you got to watch is don't get too crazy at pushing those things, because they'll come out the bottom, and then they end up who knows where. So I've lost some of them, one of them maybe. So I kind of ran into that, but that was the problem. I pushed a little too far, and then had issues there. So here it is, though, right there. Oil fill. It's kind of dirty around there, so I've probably kind of tried to wipe that just a little bit. And then over here, if you ever check your oil, there it is. Right in the old cubby, so nothing too crazy. There's no check plug on that, it's just a regular plug, dirty, like regular plugs. And then the Subtrans, it's up underneath your front seat, right there. And it is an actual dipstick. Fill, check, same hole. So you just stick the thing down on there, and then that's how you check your level. You don't screw it down in, nothing like that. You just check it right to the top. Hey, that pretty well gets her. The only other thing we really needed to tackle was the air cleaner. And that's where you got it. That's where I've probably lost some of those push pins, I think, is because knock those out. You gotta knock that whole cover off, take that out, and then there's like 10 Allen bolts on the thing, so it gets pretty excited. I checked that at 600, I think, so we're in pretty good shape. I don't know if we'll actually get to that right now, today. It's getting late, so probably just ride with it and then check it at the next interval. So make sure we get that wrench reset. That way then we're good to go there, and it'll remind us the next time when we need to check oil, check filter, all that good stuff. So, well, I guess that's all for probably right now. Over and out.